Have you ever opened your bank account, stared at the balance, and wondered, where did it all go? You worked hard this month. You weren't splurging on luxury cars or designer clothes. You made what felt like responsible choices, and yet somehow your savings account looks thinner than a fast food napkin after lunch hour. Meanwhile, your neighbor just got a new gadget, your coworker is planning their third vacation this year, and social media is filled with people flaunting lifestyles that seem completely out of reach. It makes you question whether you're doing something wrong, if you're the only one who can't seem to figure out this whole money thing. But here's the truth. You're not alone. In fact, most people aren't any better with money than you are. They're just making different mistakes. Some of these mistakes are so common, so normalized, that we don't even recognize them as financial traps anymore. We think we're being smart, responsible, even strategic, when in reality we're quietly draining our wealth on things that used to make sense but simply don't anymore. I'm Mike from Mike Compound, and today I want to take you through a list of financial habits, products, and ideas that have quietly expired. They no longer deliver value, yet millions still buy into them every single day. And here's the kicker. Each of these could be costing you thousands of dollars every year. So if you're tired of watching your paycheck vanish into invisible holes cleverly disguised as smart purchases or responsible decisions, you're in the right place. Because what I'm about to share might change the way you see money forever. The world has changed dramatically in the past decade. Prices, technology, and even the meaning of value itself have evolved. But our spending habits? They're stuck in the past. We're still buying things that used to be good deals, following strategies that used to build wealth, and trusting products that used to offer convenience. The math doesn't work anymore. But we keep going, because it's what everyone else is doing. Think about it. 10 years ago, owning a car was a symbol of independence. Today, for many people, it's a financial anchor. A decade ago, investing in certain markets meant opportunity. Today, it's often speculation disguised as hope. And that's the problem. What once made sense now quietly destroys wealth. The difference between people who grow richer every year and those who stay stuck isn't always income, it's awareness. The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter. They've just stopped wasting money on things that no longer work. They've learned to see the traps others walk straight into. Before diving into the list, I want to give you a simple framework that might forever change how you think about spending. Every single dollar you earn can fall into one of three categories. Category 1, dollars that create more dollars. These are your investments, your education, your skills, your business ideas, the things that multiply your income. Every dollar in this category is like a seed planted in fertile soil. Category 2, dollars that buy genuine value or necessity, food, shelter, healthcare, things that support your life and well-being. These aren't investments, but they're essential. They keep the system running. Category 3, dollars that vanish. These are the silent killers, the purchases that provide neither growth nor true happiness. They don't make your life better tomorrow. They just disappear. Most people lose the game of money right here, in Category 3, without even realizing they're playing. They're not making obviously bad decisions. They're making outdated ones. Choices that used to belong in Category 2, like certain insurances, travel options, or even education, have now quietly slipped into Category 3. It's not your fault. The system is designed that way. Marketing hasn't updated its message to match modern reality. Entire industries depend on you believing that what once worked still does. That's why so many intelligent, hardworking people still end up broke, not because they lack discipline, but because they're playing by old rules in a new game. So today, we're going to rewrite those rules. I'll walk you through 10 things that no longer deserve your money. Not because I want you to live frugally or deny yourself joy, but because every dollar you spend should either enrich your life or grow your future. Anything else is theft, subtle, disguised, but theft nonetheless. And when you understand these 10 traps, not just what they are, but why they no longer work, you'll start to see patterns everywhere. You'll notice how some people seem to always have money for opportunities, while others struggle to catch up. The truth is, it's not magic. It's awareness. Let's start there, with the mindset that every dollar should have a purpose. Because once you understand that, avoiding the traps becomes second nature. Now, let's dive into the first of these 10 outdated money drains, the smart investments you don't actually understand. Let's start with something that sounds intelligent, responsible, and even ambitious, yet quietly wipes out more savings than almost anything else. Investments you don't understand. At first glance, it feels harmless. You see friends talking about the next big crypto coin, a hot startup raising funds, or a stock everyone swears is going to the moon. You don't want to miss out, so you throw in some money. Just a little, you tell yourself. But then, that little snowballs, because when it goes up, you feel like a genius. And when it goes down, you convince yourself to hold, believing it'll bounce back. Before you know it, you're emotionally attached to something you can't even explain. You can't define how it makes money, who's behind it, or what would make it fail. You just know that someone, somewhere, said it's the future. Here's the brutal truth. One bad investment you don't understand can erase years of smart decisions. I've seen people lose 10,000, 20,000, even 50,000 chasing hype-driven projects they couldn't describe in a single sentence. Crypto coins, meme stocks, random tech startups, it doesn't matter. The pattern's the same. Emotion over logic. The psychological trap is subtle but deadly. When something rises, it validates your ego. When it falls, you rewrite the story in your head to protect that ego. It's just temporary. Everyone's down right now. It'll recover. And while you're busy rationalizing, your money is evaporating. Knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Every dollar invested in something you don't truly understand is a dollar you're gambling. The difference between gambling and investing is comprehension. If you can't explain the business model, the risks, the competitors, and the exit strategy, you're not investing. You're guessing. The solution? Only invest in what you can confidently explain to a 10-year-old. If you can't break it down simply, you shouldn't be buying it. Understanding beats excitement every time. Now let's move to something far more ordinary, but just as dangerous over the long term: overpriced car insurance. This one hits quietly because it doesn't feel like a waste. You pay it automatically every month, and it feels like a responsible adult thing to do. But here's what most people don't realize. The average driver is overpaying anywhere between $30,000 to $1,000 per year for car insurance they don't need. That's not because they drive expensive cars or have bad records. It's because they haven't compared rates in years. Insurance companies count on this. They know people hate paperwork and hate switching. So they slowly raise your premiums a few dollars at a time, year after year, knowing you'll just let it renew automatically. Meanwhile, new customers are getting far better rates for the exact same coverage. The result? You're subsidizing someone else's discount, and it takes only 30 minutes of your time to fix it, 30 minutes to save hundreds or even thousands per year. Think about that. You'll spend an hour researching which movie to watch or where to eat dinner, but won't spend half that time saving real money every month. The irony is painful. Here's what's even better. That money compounds. If you save $500 per year on insurance and invest it instead of wasting it, you could end up with tens of thousands of extra dollars in a few decades. That's how small optimizations build quiet wealth, by turning lazy expenses into smart habits. Next up, something that started as a great idea but has turned into a financial black hole: Airbnb. When Airbnb first launched, it was revolutionary. Affordable, cozy, unique stays that gave you the feeling of living like a local. But that's not what it is anymore. Today, most Airbnbs are just overpriced mini hotels with hidden fees, inconsistent service, and questionable cleanliness. You see a listing for $150 per night. Reasonable, right? But at checkout, there's a $75 cleaning fee, a $30 service charge, and a few local taxes sprinkled on top. Suddenly, your $150 stay costs $255, and you still have to take out the trash, wash dishes, and strip the bed before leaving. Compare that to a $200 hotel room. No hidden fees, daily housekeeping, flexible cancellation, and actual customer service. The math doesn't lie. The hotel is cheaper, simpler, and far less stressful. For frequent travelers, that difference adds up to thousands of wasted dollars each year. Airbnb's charm has faded, replaced by overpriced listings and vague host rules that make you feel like an unpaid housekeeper. What was once a community of travelers helping each other has become a marketplace of inflated expectations and declining value. And now, for one of the biggest profit scams ever disguised as peace of mind: extended warranties. You've been there. You're buying a new laptop or phone or appliance, and the salesperson leans in with concern. Would you like to add our protection plan for just $99? It'll cover you for 3 years. It sounds reasonable until you realize what's really happening. Extended warranties are one of the most profitable upsells in retail. They usually cost 15 to 25% of the item's price, but fewer than 15% of people ever make a valid claim. And even those who do often find their issue isn't covered. Water damage? Excluded. Wear and tear? Excluded. Forgot to register online within 30 days? Excluded. Most people never even use their warranties. They forget about them, lose the receipt, or discover the repair process is such a nightmare, it's easier to buy a new item. Meanwhile, that $90 protection plan you bought on 5 different gadgets this year could have been $500 invested, money that actually grows instead of disappearing. So, what's the fix? Build your own protection plan. It's called an emergency fund. A small, dedicated savings buffer gives you real peace of mind. Unlike a retailer's warranty, it never expires, doesn't require paperwork, and works for any emergency, anytime. 4 traps down, 6 to go. And as you're probably starting to see, the theme here isn't about deprivation, it's about awareness. Every dollar you rescue from these outdated habits becomes a tool for freedom. Let's talk about a trap that sneaks into almost every home, the smart idea that turns into a silent drain. Buying food in bulk when you end up throwing half of it away. On paper, it sounds like a responsible move. You tell yourself, I'm saving money per unit. You buy the jumbo packs, the warehouse-sized produce boxes, the gallon jars, because mathematically, it looks cheaper. But here's the reality. The average household throws away about 20% of the food they buy. That means 1 out of every 5 grocery dollars you spend ends up in the trash. For a family spending $400 a month on groceries, that's $80 literally wasted. Over a year, nearly $1,000 gone. Not because you spent too much, but because you didn't use what you bought. The psychology is sneaky. When you buy in bulk, each item feels less valuable. Throwing away 1 apple from a 10-pound bag doesn't sting as much as tossing a single $2 apple. But the math doesn't care about feelings. Waste is waste. And the problem grows exponentially with fresh food, produce, meat, dairy, the things that spoil quickly. We all start with good intentions. I'll cook more this week, or I'll freeze the extras. But then work piles up, plans change, and you order takeout instead. Before long, that family-sized pack of chicken turns into a biology experiment in the fridge. Even worse, bulk buying often leads to overeating. You bought that mega bag of chips because it was a better value, and now you're eating twice as much simply because it's there. You're saving money on paper, but spending more in reality, both financially and physically. The fix? Be brutally honest with yourself. Buy in bulk only what you truly consume consistently. Dry goods, cleaning supplies, or non-perishables make sense. But if you're throwing away fresh food every week, you're not saving money. You're just wasting it faster. Now, let's move to another psychological battlefield. Buying things on sale that you never needed in the first place. You walk into a store or scroll online, see 50% off, and your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. It's a bargain, you tell yourself. You feel clever for catching a deal. But what really happened? You spent money you never planned to spend on something you didn't even want until 5 seconds ago. Retailers understand this better than anyone. Sales create urgency. Limited time only. Final clearance, only 2 left. These phrases trigger the fear of missing out. They make you feel like walking away is a mistake, but it's not a missed opportunity. It's a victory for your wallet. When you buy something just because it's on sale, you're not saving money. You're spending money you wouldn't have otherwise. The average person wastes hundreds of dollars per year on clearance items that end up gathering dust. Clothes still with tags, kitchen gadgets used once, books that never get opened. The real cost isn't just the wasted dollars, it's the opportunity cost. That 30 baba you spent on a deal could have been invested, used to pay off debt, or saved for something meaningful. Every unnecessary purchase delays your financial progress. Here's a simple rule that can save you thousands. If you wouldn't buy it at full price, don't buy it at half price. Discounts don't make bad decisions good, they just make them cheaper mistakes. Finally, let's talk about one of the most emotionally charged money traps: unnecessary holiday and birthday gifts. Gift giving started as a gesture of love and thoughtfulness, but for many, it's turned into a cycle of obligation and guilt. The average adult spends between $100 and $1,000 per year on gifts that recipients rarely use or even remember. It's not generosity, it's a social performance. Think about it. You buy a $50 gift for your coworker's birthday. They buy one for you later. You both end up with things you didn't need, and neither of you is better off. It's like a financial merry-go-round where everyone loses except the retailers. The problem isn't kindness, it's expectation. We've been conditioned to equate love with spending. To prove we care, we swipe our cards. But real care doesn't need a receipt. Experiences, shared meals, handwritten notes, or simply being present, these often matter far more than physical items. So what's the alternative? Have the courage to be honest, suggest gift-free holidays, set spending limits, do a secret Santa instead of buying for everyone. Or focus on experiences over objects. The people who truly care about you won't measure love in dollar signs. Money wasted on meaningless gifts could be redirected toward what truly builds happiness, like travel, memories, or financial freedom. Every dollar not spent on shoulds is one more step toward what you want. 3 more traps exposed, and each one reminds us of the same principle. Wasting money doesn't always look like luxury. Sometimes it looks responsible, kind, or even smart. But the result is the same, less financial freedom. And that brings us to the final stretch, the 3 biggest money mistakes that quietly destroy people's long-term stability: education debt, small daily spending habits, and housing costs. Let's start with the sacred cow of modern society, one that has trapped millions under decades of debt, paying for degrees you'll never use. For generations, we've been told that college is the key to success. Get a degree and you'll be set for life. Parents repeat it, schools enforce it, and culture celebrates it. But the reality has changed. The cost of higher education has exploded, while the job market hasn't kept up. Students are graduating with $40,000, $80,000, even $120,000 in debt, only to find entry-level jobs that barely pay enough to cover rent, let alone loan payments. If you borrow $40,000 to earn a degree that leads to a $35,000 job, that's not an investment. That's a financial trap disguised as an achievement. You've bought a dream sold by an industry that profits from your ambition. For the next 20 years, that monthly loan payment will quietly limit your choices: where you live, what job you take, when you can buy a home, start a family, or even take a risk. And here's the irony. You were told that education equals freedom. But when the math doesn't work, it becomes the opposite: financial servitude dressed in a cap and gown. That doesn't mean college is worthless. It just means you need to approach it like a true investor. If you're going to spend tens of thousands on education, make sure it provides measurable returns. Ask questions before enrolling. What's the starting salary in this field? How long will it take to pay back what I borrow? Is there a cheaper path, like community college transfers, scholarships, or trade schools, that leads to the same outcome? Because not all knowledge has to come with a price tag. The internet, apprenticeships, and online programs have made learning more accessible than ever. The key is to stop buying education for the sake of appearances and start treating it as a real financial decision. A degree isn't an asset if it doesn't increase your income. It's a liability with a tassel attached. Now, let's move to something that looks harmless but bleeds people dry one tiny purchase at a time: small daily spending habits that provide zero lasting value. The $6 morning coffee, the $12 lunch because you didn't pack one, the $5 energy drink, the $8 snack, the random treat-yourself purchases that feel like nothing in the moment, but add up to thousands over the year. Here's the cold math. A $10 daily habit costs $3,650 per year. Most people have 2 or 3 of these habits running simultaneously: coffee runs, takeout, convenience store snacks, streaming subscriptions, death by 1,000 swipes. The problem isn't the coffee or the snack. It's the unconsciousness of it. These purchases don't bring happiness, growth, or meaning. They're reflexes, tiny dopamine hits that fade in minutes, leaving nothing behind but an empty cup and a smaller bank balance. And yet, if those same dollars were invested, just $10 a day at a modest return, they could become hundreds of thousands of dollars over a few decades. That's the true cost of convenience. It's not $10 today, it's freedom tomorrow. This isn't about deprivation, it's about awareness. You don't have to cut out every small joy, you just have to choose consciously. If that daily coffee truly makes your morning better, keep it. But if it's just a habit born from autopilot, it's time to redirect those dollars towards something that actually changes your life. Finally, the biggest trap of all, the one that silently dictates every other financial decision: overpaying for housing. Housing is supposed to be stability, but for millions, it's become a golden cage. Whether renting or buying, people are stretching themselves so thin that their homes become prisons of debt. The classic advice says housing should cost no more than 30% of your gross income. But in many cities today, people spend 40, 50, even 6%. That means over half your paycheck disappears before you even start living. You can't save, you can't invest, you can't breathe. You're working not for freedom, but to keep the roof above your head, a roof that's bigger, fancier, or trendier than you actually need. The marketing of housing plays on emotion. Dream home. Forever home. You deserve it. But when that dream becomes a burden, it stops being home. It becomes an anchor. People sacrifice flexibility, opportunities, and peace of mind just to maintain an image of success. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The smaller, simpler home that frees your budget will make you wealthier than the beautiful one that keeps you broke. Every extra square foot that isn't used is money chained to the floor. And this doesn't just apply to homeowners. Renters fall into the same trap, moving into trendy neighborhoods, upgrading for amenities they barely use, or choosing a place just for appearances. The result? Financial paralysis. Ask yourself, do you need the neighborhood, or do you want it? Do you need that extra bedroom, or do you like the idea of having it? Could you rent smaller for a few years and invest the difference? Every housing decision you make today defines your financial freedom for decades. Because here's the truth, no realtor will tell you. Your home should be a foundation for your wealth, not the reason you can't build any. So here we are. 10 habits, products, and ideas that used to make sense, but don't anymore. Each one on its own might seem small, a few hundred here, a few thousand there, but when you add them up over years, what you get isn't just wasted money, it's wasted potential. Because here's the truth, most people never realize, it's not the big purchases that keep you broke. It's the small, consistent leaks that drain your wealth quietly while you're busy convincing yourself you're doing everything right. Think about it. The person who avoids these 10 traps doesn't just save money, they create wealth. They have cash ready when opportunities appear. They can take risks others can't afford. They build a financial cushion so thick that even when the world shakes, they stand firm. That's not luck. That's discipline and awareness. When you stop buying into outdated systems, you stop being controlled by them. You stop funding corporations that profit from your habits. You stop rewarding marketing campaigns designed to make you feel incomplete without their products. And you start something far more powerful. You start owning your choices. Most people never make that shift. They live decades chasing comfort, status, or routine, only to wake up one day and realize that the normal way of managing money doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to exhaustion. The truth is, the game is rigged in favor of those who think differently. The system is built to reward awareness and punish autopilot. You can't control the economy, inflation, or the housing market, but you can control where your money goes. You can decide what you support, what you invest in, and what you refuse to waste another dollar on. That's where true financial independence begins. Not with a raise, not with a lucky investment, but with clarity. When you start seeing every dollar as a tool, not a toy, you start building momentum. The $500 you save by switching car insurance, that's an investment in your future. The $1,000 you stop wasting on unnecessary gifts, that's capital for your first business or portfolio. The overpriced Airbnb you skip, that's the seed money for your emergency fund. The secret to wealth isn't hidden knowledge, it's consistency. Small, rational choices compounded over time turn into financial transformation. And once you experience the peace of knowing your money is finally working for you instead of against you, you'll never go back. We live in a world that tells you to buy more, upgrade faster, and keep spending to stay relevant. But the people who truly win are the ones who quietly opt out. They're not loud, they're not flashy, they're patient, strategic, and deliberate. They let everyone else chase the illusion of success while they build the foundation of it. You don't need to cut out everything. You just need to make sure every dollar you spend brings you closer to your goals instead of further away. Start questioning the normal things. Ask yourself before every purchase, does this make my life better or just more cluttered? Does this bring me peace or just noise? The moment you begin thinking like that, everything changes. You'll see the traps for what they are. You'll stop falling for financial nostalgia, the things that used to work. You'll start saving not by deprivation, but by design. Because wealth isn't just about money, it's about freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you work with, what you pursue, and when you rest. Every dollar you waste delays that freedom. Every dollar you save accelerates it. So start today. Audit your habits, cut the noise, simplify, redirect your money toward things that grow, things that matter, and things that last. This is Mike Compound, reminding you the smartest financial decision you'll ever make isn't what you buy, it's what you stop buying. Subscribe for more videos designed to help you see money differently, think smarter, and build the kind of quiet wealth that nobody sees coming, but everyone wishes they had.